let's play around with processes for a bit. So my system is booted. I opened up an Xterm and I can use the process command to see what processes I'm running right now. So in this terminal, I am running bash. That is the system that runs shell command stuff. And then I just did PS. So those two things were running right then. If I do a PS dash capital A or an E, same idea, then it's going to show me everything. It's going to show me all processes. And I can see Zoom is running right now for this recording, and Zoom has a bunch of child processes, and Nginx is running, and there's a bunch of child processes. Kworker, probably for the kernel. Chrome is running, a bunch of Chrome stuff. Cat is running something. XDG is running. iBus, GSD, Evolution, whole bunch of stuff. Xwayland, that's my window manager. Okay. So Nginx, so that's my web server. So I bring in new browser window, and I go to localhost. The extra stuff there, then I can see welcome to Nginx. So that's like the Nginx puts up a basic file there to see that it's running. And when a process is running, you can try and kill it. And there's a little bit of information about kill in this chapter. And so let's just check out kill. And so kill wants a signal, and there's various signal numbers you can send it. And it depends on the process what number you need to send it to really kill something. And so I would definitely recommend doing a man kill to learn more about it for killing processes. And so I'm going to get a little bit more detail above. So let's go back to the PS. I want more details, and then I want to just isolate the Nginx stuff. So I'm going to grep for Nginx. Okay, so here I can see that process 9713, that's the master process, and all the other ones are working under it. So if I kill any other process like 7914, so that's the process ID, you'll see PID come up sometimes, process ID. That's one way to kill it. You can also kill by process name. So the name here would be Nginx. So let's try to kill process ID 9713. And what I should find is I don't have permission to do that. So I have to up my permission with something like sudo. And then it's going to say, okay, what's your password to get into that command? And I type it. And so now if I go back to grep and see what's going on with Nginx, I should see the only thing going on with Nginx is me grepping to find Nginx. So Nginx is now dead. So if I go back to my browser here and I ask for localhost again, it's like, what, huh? There ain't no localhost. So there's no web browser looking for messages to this server address, and localhost is also, we'll learn about this in the next chapter, 127.0.0.1. And then there's also ports related to that IP address that direct it to web stuff or SSL stuff or SSH stuff or mail stuff, or there's a ton of others that we learned about way back in chapter 2. Moving along here. All right, so if I want to start up Nginx again, well, Nginx is set up as a process when the system starts. So let's look at system control. And I want to take a look at, let's see, list units. So we could list units. Aren't behaving here. So this shows me different things that are running. And somewhere in that list, we should come across EXIM as mail. We got PHP running, which is related to the web server. We got systemd journal stuff, keeping track of what's going on, recording information, system mod probe slice. Mod probe is looking to assign modules to certain hardware things. We got a sound target, we got swap going on. And somewhere in there is Nginx. And if I want to see all the installed files, then I should use list unit files instead of list units. So let's try that. All right, so now here it's going to list all the individual things. So the processes are grouped together in a couple of different ways. So we have types as one way to group processes, and there's targets, which is another way to group processes. And then there's the unit that they belong to. So there's a few different ways to do that. And somewhere in here is Nginx. Some the processes. So let's get out of there. And if you looked in the book, those should be under etc systemd system. There's a whole bunch of stuff in there. Let's do a -R on that so that we can look inside there. And then let's pipe that to grep. Nginx should be in there somewhere. So there's the Nginx service. Now, as far as CTL is concerned, I can specifically target it. So I could do something like system CTL, and then I want to start. Let's do a status actually on Nginx. And I can either enter it as Nginx or Nginx.service. Do the same thing. And you can see here that it is loaded and enabled, but it's inactive at the moment. So let's see if we can start it. And it's going to ask for my administrative right to do so. So usually I would do sudo before that, but here it's prompting me, which is nice. And now if I go to find its status again, I should see it is working, and it's got a bunch of child processes here. So if we do a PS-A, capital A or lowercase e on that, and I'm going to throw the F in there for a little more information, and then I'm going to pipe that over to grep because otherwise it's going to give me a shitload of processes. The next. All right, so then if I narrow that down, I can see that systemctl is saying that these are all the child processes running related to Nginx, and I can confirm that with the PS command here. So important commands. PS is nice to list processes and get some information about them, and then you can use grep to filter out filter what you want to see. And then we've got systemctl, which can show us information about all processes, but it can also do things to manage processes. So it could be that I need to fiddle with some Nginx stuff. So let's say I need to edit some configuration stuff about Nginx. And that would be probably in sites enabled. And then I want to edit, oops, let's do something with that. Let's do a less on that file. So suppose I went in here with nano and I edit some of the configuration ideas or directives, excuse me, about Nginx. Maybe it's about PHP or about how to load public directories, or maybe it's I want to just make some specific rules about a directory that is serving web files. So I make my edits and then I get out of there. So then what I would do is in system control, I don't need to restart it if I just edit some configuration stuff. I would just do a reload on Nginx. And then again, it's going to ask for my permission here. And then Nginx will try to reload any configuration files that it knows about. And then it'll do what I need to do. If there was an error in the configuration files, then it would warn me right away that, hey, whoa, errors, something's wrong with your configuration. And that's a whole nother area of how to manage web stuff. So that's not part of this unit. My main point here is systemctl has a lot of powerful uses, from listing processes to get information about them, finding child processes. You can also use it to start, restart, stop processes. So instead of the PS, instead of the kill I did on the process, I could have done a systemctl stop for that process, and that would have served the same purpose. But to do that, you have to have permission to do so. So notice each time I ran systemctl to do something that required some major system change, besides just viewing stuff, it popped up, hey, what's your password? Alternatively, if I wanted to do something that required administrative privileges with systemctl, I would do the sudo command in front, which identifies me as a root user once I enter my password. So I could force that password check on my ability to do such things. All right, what else should we take a look at while we're here? We looked at units and unit files. We looked at the systemctl command. We took a brief look at where those processes live, and most of them live under etc systemd system, which I had up here a minute ago. Oops. And then depending on your system, there might be process information in other places. For example, some systems will have stuff in run, systemd, system, mine doesn't. And again, if it did, it would have either said the stuff, or maybe it wouldn't upgrade, say I need better permissions to look in there. Or if we look in user lib, systemd, system, I can see a bunch of processes in there too, information about run levels. Oh, init. So init is sys5 technology, but systemd incorporates a lot of things from sys5. So for example, if I just go to say, which init here, my system's going to be like, huh? Don't know what you're talking about. And if I do a sudo on that, then it's going to say, oh, yeah, right, user sbin. So my ordinary user didn't know about it, but the super user does, the root user. And if we then do something like an ls-l on that file location, sbin init, then it should show us that that's a symbolic link over to systemd. So again, init is a sys5 thing, but systemd uses language from sys5, and really it's just kind of translating over the initialization stuff that system5 init did, which now systemd just does on its own. So it's part of systemd now. Let's see. And so this is evidence that I am on a systemd Linux system, not a sys5 Linux system, which most likely you're on a systemd Linux system, unless you're running something wicked old, which I doubt, given that I'm older than you guys by far, for the most part. All right, so play around with systemd using the commands, and make sure you use your script file to record stuff that you're working on. Have fun checking out these unit files and target unit files and environmental variables. What else are you going to come across in here? Yeah, so mostly going to be playing around with systemd stuff. You're going to read a little bit about sys5 stuff, but it's harder to find a sys5 system these days. Technology just keeps advancing. All right, stay tuned, have fun. See you in the near future. Adios.